J.K. Rowling wrote one of the most successful book series in history on a welfare check. Rock bottom was not her grave. It was the only foundation solid enough to hold an empire. Let that sit for a second. Now look at your own life. You are terrified of failure. Not a little scared. Genuinely, deeply terrified. You make every decision based on what you might lose, rather than what you could build. You stay in the mediocre job because it pays the bills. You hold on to the toxic relationship because being alone feels worse. You keep the business idea locked in your head because launching it means risking looking stupid in front of people who are not even paying attention to you. You are clinging to a completely average life like it is a gold mine. It is not a gold mine. It is a cage. And the worst part is, the cage is not even locked. You are just too comfortable to push the door open. Here is what your safety net is actually doing to you. You think it protects you. You think having a backup plan is smart. And in some practical sense, yes it is. But psychologically, your backup plan is quietly destroying your ambition every single day. When you know you have a soft place to land, you negotiate with yourself. You tell yourself, if this does not work out, I can always go back to the old job. I can always dial it back. I can always play it safe again. That thought alone guarantees you will never go all the way. You fight like an amateur when you know the floor is padded. You take the safe version of every risk. You commit at 70% and wonder why you keep getting 70% results. Now, let us talk about what actually happens when someone loses everything. J.K. Rowling, before the Empire, before Harry Potter, before the hundreds of millions, was a divorced, unemployed single mother. No money, no status, no safety net, no plan B. She had hit absolute rock bottom by every measurable standard society uses to judge a life. And that is exactly when everything changed. Because here is what nobody tells you about rock bottom. You think it is a dark pit where people go to fall apart. You think it is the worst thing that can happen to a person. Society treats it like a death sentence. Rock bottom is not a pit. It is a clean slate. When you lose everything, something extraordinary happens. The fear disappears. You can no longer worry about ruining your reputation because your reputation is already gone. You can no longer worry about losing your money because the account is already empty. You can no longer worry about what fake friends think because fake friends vanish the second you hit zero. The worst thing you spent years fearing has already happened, and you are still here. Rock bottom strips away the ego. It burns down the distractions. It removes every excuse and forces you to look at reality with complete clarity. For Rowling, that stripping away of the old failed version of her life was the exact thing that set her free to sit in a cafe with almost nothing and write. She did not succeed in spite of hitting rock bottom. She succeeded because of it. Zero is the only place where you are completely free to build, because there is nothing left to protect, nothing left to lose, nothing left to hide behind. Here is the law you need to accept. Hitting zero is not the end. It is the only foundation solid enough to hold a castle. You cannot build something real on a swamp of backup plans and compromises and half commitments. You have to dig all the way down to solid ground first. Most people never get there because they spend their whole life making sure they never fall. So they never build either. Here's what you do with this. 3 steps. Start today. First, burn the safety net mentally. You do not have to quit your job tomorrow. You do not have to blow up your life. But mentally, you need to stop treating your backup plan as the real plan. Commit to your primary mission as if your life depends on it, because in every way that actually matters, it does. When failure is genuinely not an option, your brain stops looking for the exit and starts finding the way through. Second, audit the wreckage. Honestly, if you are currently at rock bottom or close to it, stop mourning it and start reading it. Look at what collapsed. Your old habits, your old thinking, your old systems. Something in that combination failed you, and you need to understand exactly what it was. You cannot build the new version of your life using the same broken thinking that created the mess. Change the blueprint, not just the effort. Third, act like you have nothing to lose. Because right now, you are operating like you have a reputation to protect and an image to maintain. You do not. Nobody is watching as closely as you think. Nobody is keeping score. The bold move you have been putting off, the phone call, the first draft, the post, the launch, make it now. When you operate with the fearlessness of someone who is already at zero, you become genuinely dangerous. To your competition, to your own limitations, to every version of yourself that's settled. Here is the reality. You can spend your entire life tiptoeing carefully toward a death that comes anyway. You can keep clinging to the average existence you are afraid to lose. You can keep playing defense until the clock runs out. Or you can embrace the fall. You can accept that losing the things that were holding you back is not a tragedy. It is clearance. The universe clearing the land so you can finally build something that actually matters. The bottom is not where stories end. It is where the real ones begin. If you are done playing it safe and ready to build from zero, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment right now that says, I am building the castle. Then stop counting what you might lose and start focusing entirely on what you're about to take.